Alright, sorry about that abrupt ending. I wasn't watching my time. Anyway, I've aligned this keyframe with it, and I'm ready to go on to the next button. With the next button, I'm going to create another garish button. There we go, it's right in the center. And it's going to have the text play on. And just like before, it's going to be in the center of that button. And it means I've got a fair amount of space around this button, and that's fine. Now, with this button, I'm going to do something a little bit different. This time, I'm going to convert this to a symbol instead. So this is going to be the play button, or button 2. Now that I have button 2, I can go inside of it, and it looks like I have it twice, button 2. Anyway, inside this button, I've got my different layers, and now I'm ready to do something else with it. I'm going to actually animate this just a little bit. So I'm going to change the color maybe to a little bit darker blue, and maybe I can even make the color of this turn to like a yellow or something. So in order to do animation inside this button, what I want to do is create a structure just like we did kind of on the main timeline where we have labels and stops and things like that. And here's how it works. The first thing we're going to do is insert 2 labels. So the first one is over, and then the next one I'm going to do right here, and I'll just do that with the keyboard shortcut, Control L. This will be out. Now I need a stop as well. So I'm going to do a stop at about 1/4 of a second, and then I'm going to do another one by copying that and doing it at about 1 second. So the little transitions will be pretty fast. Now exactly where the out and end start and stop doesn't really matter. I just want there only to be like 1/4 of a second in between. Okay, so going back to the beginning, now what I can do is set some key. I'm going to set a key for that one and a key for that one for my color. Now I can go to the end, change my color, make it a little darker. And for my text, let's go ahead and give that a little yellow too. So now you'll see I get a little bit of color going on there. Now what I'm going to do is just reverse that. So I'm going to select that keyframe and paste. I'm going to select that keyframe and paste. I'm going to go out to 1 and select the first keyframe, paste, and select the second keyframe and paste. That's just a really simple way to create an animation and then reverse it. Now on the main timeline, this particular button is going to be playing by default. You'll see it's indicated by this strip right here. What we want to do is make sure that it's stopped, and we should stop it from the beginning actually. So now that will be stopped. Then, just like with the other one before, let's turn it on at that point and off at this point. So you'll see it turns on there, and we'll do a fade in and fade out. So we can go to the middle if we want, create a keyframe, go to the beginning, change it to 0, and then if we really wanted to, we can just try copying and pasting that to the end instead of trying to get to the numbers. Because when it's off, we can't change that opacity, but we can copy and paste keyframes. So now I've got that happening. Now what I want to do is a little bit more code. I'm going to save my document real quick. Now we've got our actions on that particular button before, which I just wanted to reference just so we know where that we find that, and that's indicated by this little marker right here. I like to do it though by right-clicking and choosing Open Actions, because it even tells me what that button is. And let me see if I can just change that to 2. I guess I can. Good. Now I can right-click, choose Open Actions for 2. We're going to say when we click, it's going to play. So, man, I don't know why it's going inside there. Play. There we go. That's the way it typically works. Now I'm also going to do a mouse over. Now this one's a little bit different, of course. The first thing that we have to do is get the symbol. And by getting the symbol, what we're going to be doing is creating a variable and then getting the symbol by name, and that's what this quotation marks is here. That's a string. So we know that the name of this symbol is button 2. So we'll call this button 2. Now, the symbol object here can be really anything that we want. If we wanted to call it my button instead, that'd be totally fine as well. It wouldn't really matter. This is just creating a temporary variable to use for this mouse over. Now, after we've created this, then what we're going to do is play from a certain point. So we can use play from, and it tells me play the timeline at a given position or label. And so we're going to use a label. Since we're on the mouse over, all we have to do is change this to the over string. Now we can copy and we can do that all again for the mouse out, but instead I'm just going to copy the good stuff and create a mouse out event. And I'm just going to paste that, and I can even get rid of the comments in here because I know what I'm doing at this point. And I can keep the same my button, get symbol button 2, and symbol play would be out instead. So let's save that and test our work. Now you'll see that we get a button, our first one, which is not animated, and then we have our second one. You'll notice, oh, let's see, it looks like I have a on hover event. What did I do? Open actions for this. Oh, I figured out what it is. What the problem is my mouse over and my mouse out, I never changed my symbol reference. So that's why we're creating this variable, so we can use that as the target for the action play. And I should have been aware of that. So that's why we like to test anyway. Then save, refresh, and you'll see that we get hopefully what we want. All right. So we're getting a rollover, but we actually have an issue here. One thing that we have to do that we didn't do before, or that we did before, was add the pointer, and that's always an important thing. And then if I refresh, I should get the same thing. But we've got one thing I wanted to point out, and that is what happens when we have this internal text inside of here. What happens is it looks really great until you have two objects on the inside, and it makes a really, really glitchy button, I've found. Now, if you know a way to fix this, if you know a way around that, please comment on my YouTube channel, because I'm not really sure. My solution to get around this is actually to create a button in Illustrator instead of in Edge. And that's what I'm going to do in the next tutorial.